Hello, hello. You know what day it is. It's Thursdays. We out here talking that tech. We back for part two of the fundamentals. It's me and my boy Chris.
What up? What up? We here, part two, giving it to you again.
I'm very excited because we're gonna get kind of into some in-depth stuff today, which is a little bit different than what we kind of covered in the first one. The first one was more of like a basics and what to look for in the game, but I think we're gonna kind of deep dive into a little bit more advanced level stuff that, like, if you haven't been playing fighting games for 10 plus years like Chris and I, you may not understand. So I'm gonna give the floor to Chris because Chris is the Jedi. I'm still a little young Padawan after 15 years. So first thing we're going to kind of dive into is something that it actually kind of surprised me that a lot of people actually didn't know. And this is even like friends that like have fighting game knowledge. I was talking to a buddy the other day and we were basically talking about buffering inputs. So I'll give the floor to Chris. He can kind of describe what it is, kind of show you how to use it, what you're looking for when you go to use it, and so on and so forth.
All right, cool. So buffering inputs. There's a couple ways I kind of look at it. There's the what I think traditionally is considered buffering, which is basically doing a motion for a move, and then if something happens, pressing the button, and then the move will come out. So I picked Kimberly today because that's my main character, and I want to show one of the things that I use here is, for example, if let's say I'm in this range, right? And if a button hits, I can't react. So if you look at my inputs, I did a fireball here. I did a fireball punch. So if I, like that, I did this before the move even hit. And that's buffering. It's basically doing a move and then get ready. There's one other thing you can think of, which is kind of buffering, which is canceling a move. So I did the input for that Tatsu before the combo finished. But because there's input buffering in the game, it saved my input and it still came out. So that's something you can think of, especially if you're having issues with a combo and you're like having issues with like a super cancel or something like that. You have way more time than you think. So, look into buffering, that's what that is. So the ways you can use it, it depends on your character. But basically, like one of the ways I use it is with Kimberly, one of my best moves in neutral. And neutral is anytime you and your opponent are not engaging. So this is considered neutral. We're not fighting each other, no one's hitting, no one's blocking, etc. One of her best buttons neutral is this. This is stand medium kick. So one of the things I like to do is if someone sticks out a button in the range here, I counter hit it with this. So let's see if I can. And as you see, I get a whole combo there for that.
Yeah, so that's another good thing to kind of, two things that I wanted you to touch base on. So you brought up canceling. So for people that don't know, like, buffering is a little bit different than canceling, because canceling, like, when you're playing like fighting games in general, you can usually cancel an active move to go into an additional move afterwards. And buffering is the same principle, but buffering is normally when the move is not hitting.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
So it's the same thing that works on both. So like when I said here, as you can see, I'm doing the motion before the second button even hits. That's because of the input buffer in the system. And the reason why this works is the same reason that works. So
Yeah.
like and the difference, like there's really, well, it'll help with both, but like specifically what a lot of people are talking about when they're talking about buffering is they're talking about doing stuff like this. You can see here I'm churning the fireballs here. That's, and if I saw something, boom. So
Yeah.
that's something, that's a buffer. You're basically storing the input into the system, and then all it takes is something, and then you come out here. Buffering is important to learn, especially in a game like this, because you have to do more than a few things. But like you said here, in neutral, like this especially, can't wait for that patch. But one of the things that this is really important here is, as you saw with this combo earlier, this doesn't combo here regularly. See, that's only 2 hits. So I'm over here. The only way this button's gonna reach is if they press a button on in. So if the ROM presses something, this is the only way this button will reach. So it will reach because of a counter hit. So let's see. Oh, I'm too close. Oh, she moves forward on that. Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, uh-oh. I'm looking sad out here.
Here, I'll do medium. It's probably
Let's see.
easier because I don't think she moves forward. Yeah. There you go.
There you go. So something like
But
that.
the
So,
reason that also works too, though, just to give, so like Street Fighter V was actually awful at this, where moves basically didn't stay out long enough. So like one of the nerfs, I'm using nerfs very softly here with Luke in that last patch, is they nerfed his crouching medium punch, and they made it easier to hit. So basically, what that means is like a move is actually out longer than it looks.
yes.
So like, oh, my hand is already pulling back, but the hurt box of that move is still out. So like, if Chris presses a button while I'm bringing my hand back, like he gets a combo off of it.
As you can see
He's
there.
getting that counter hit.
So I got a counter hit right there on the way back. So that helps. So there's a website called Ultimate Frame Data, I believe, and we'll link that in the description. But it's really good because not only does it show the frame data, but it also shows you the hit boxes, and you can see some of the moves that you're like, oh man, why are these moves so good? But you can see some of them have a lingering hurt box, and the system, even if the move doesn't look like it's out, if there's a hurt box there, and maybe maybe we'll get into more in depth in that in the future. We'll see. That's when it's a lot more. But if you see a lingering hurt box, even if the move looks like it's over, the system says it's not over. So you can do stuff where it looks like the move's over, and then you get hit by this. So you're like, what? How did I get hit by that? And it's because you still had something in this. The system said there was still a hurt box there, and buffering is really good for that because again, like in order for this to hit, it has to be there. But I've already done everything. So if it does hit, combo's already there. Same thing for a lot of people. You'll see a lot of people who have good crouching mediums here.
Yeah, I think a good like even description is like, so like Juri's idle animation, for example, like since her front leg is up, it looks like, oh, if I do a low hitting move, I wouldn't hit her because my foot isn't on the ground, but you'll still hit me because there's actually still a hurt box there.
Yeah, so you see here, like it looks like the slide should not hit. Like I'm hitting the tip of her. I'm not even hitting her back foot here. But because it looks like her foot's up, but it's the same as if she's standing just like I am. Like you can see, let's see, I'm not hitting her back foot at all, like right there. But it's really good for that. Buffering, you're gonna see a lot, especially in the game. We talked about drive. You're gonna see a lot of drive rush buffers. So I do that a ton as well because this right here into Heavy Vagabond, this move only combos on punish counter. So I got to be in the zone for that, and that's not here, but it's that's optimal for what it is. But this is gonna hit every time. So if I happen to, so you can see here, I'm already.
Yeah, that was like, if some people may not remember this, but when the game first came out, you could only drive rush with dash, so like forward, and then they made a patch where you can just press like the two medium buttons to drive rush. You can't do that from like a down or a down back, but you can do it from neutral or forward or anything like that. But what's nice about that is it basically gives Chris the chance to, like, he's putting out his medium kick and then he's inputting the drive rush buttons at the same time. And if it hits, he goes into a full combo. So the good and bad thing about like Street Fighter 6 compared to other Street Fighters is like you can make moves positive that you normally couldn't do in other games. So it's like, oh, even if that medium kick, say I was to block the medium kick and it's normally negative, if he drive rushes it, it's positive.
Yeah, so this is a button like, oh, hold on, let's turn on the frame meter.
By the way, we ran SBO last week and I turned my music on for the stream and it's still on, and this is going to be the longest hour of my life. I'm sitting here hearing Kimberly's music going.
Oh, sorry, bro. But so you see here, this is -4. That means normally, in any other Street Fighter game, unless you had a special that's plus on block or something, your turn's over. But because of drive rush, I'm just getting started. Oh, I'm plus still? What? Yeah, so there's stuff like that. So this now comes into, oh, I'm still plus into, maybe I do like that, which is another plus move. Like you can really vary your offense because of things like this, and it all starts from the buffer because
Yep.
either you press a button and I got something, or I made you block and now you have to take something.
And that's why characters like Luke are so good, because like his crouch medium punch is his plus move, and it hits really far. Like Jury's plus move is my stand medium punch. It's still a good move. It moves me forward a little bit, but like it's kind of nubby in the sense that like it doesn't even go past my leg compared to like my crouching medium. Like, and that's what's good about Luke is his crouching medium is his plus button. So you can do things that like most characters can't do. So it's like, oh, you press the button, I drive rush, I do crouch medium, I can do crouch medium again, kind of thing. So, and he's still plus off of that
Yeah,
compared to other
a
characters.
plus good button that has very little recovery and is special countable
Yeah.
is crazy, because this is my plus button. It's not special countable, and the thing is, the only thing I can combo into is jab and short. Jab doesn't work at this range. Short doesn't work at that range. And then short is also 5 frames. So if someone jabs me, I'll trade. So not the best. It's still a good button, but has its limitations where some other. But same thing, if you have a good crouching medium, you should be buffering. Whatever your special move is, if you have a good crouch, you could be here. If you play Shoto, crouching medium fireball should be like a thing here, or crouching medium Tatsu or whatever, where you're just sticking that button out and you're buffering. If it happens to hit, boom. Now, you're going to have to figure out what button you want to use. Of course, as always, I'm going to tell you, watch top players of your character, go into rank, go into the replay, look at who's number one on the leaderboards with your character, watch their replays. Usually it's going to be a top player unless they're a cheater, in which case you'll quickly see that when they're perfect parrying everything. If that case, just, block them and report them. But for everyone else, you're going to see that and you'll figure it out. So because you're going to need to know also, depending on how you play, if people try to come in and you. So like for me, I can buffer because I know people are going to be outside of this range or looking for this button. They know it's one of Kimberly's best buttons. So I have that here. But if you're a character like who you want to get in on, you need to make sure your buffers are something safe. Like I could never buffer just that because the range here, this is negative.
Minus on block, isn't it?
Yeah, that's -6. That's a free punish right there. So if I were to do that, boom, punish counter, free. So you do have to watch what you're buffering, but it is really important to learn, and it will help your neutral a ton, because one thing that I try to do is I'll basically stay in a range like this where I'm looking at the space between us. And if I see a button come out in that space between us and I'm ready for it, then I can just be like, I can press it, I can respond.
Yep. Another fun insight just to, because so here's a good example. Like a lot of, if you block this for me, a lot of people let juries get away with that, and that by itself is actually -6. So if you are close enough and they space that improperly, you can actually blow that up. So, and the problem is you can do light. So like light kick is only -3, I believe, -4. But the problem is it doesn't. She steps forward on the medium one, so I don't actually get hit. So the problem is it removes my pressure. So you'll see a lot of juries do, and it's -6. So if you're close enough and they don't do that right, and they just do, oh my gosh. That's -6, so full punish counter off of that. And I actually found that out because I was playing John one day, and he was blowing that up, and I did not know. And I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm spacing this properly. Definitely not. So that's little things that, like, when we're talking about, like, oh, when you lose to a character, that's when you figure things out. Because you'll be like, yo, this dude just keeps doing this to me. And then you take it into training mode, and you're like, yo, this whole time this thing was -6. I had no idea.
100%. And definitely, this is one of the games where I'm specifically, I used to study frame data. I used to have that stuff memorized. I haven't done that in a while. But there are tools out there for you. Ultimate Frame Data is another one. Again, I will link that. Super Combo, RIP SRK. Supercombo.gg has a wiki with everything, and there's an app out there called Frame Assistant Tool, or FAT, and it's free download. I believe it's on both iOS and Android. If it's not, I'd be very surprised if it's not. but it's constantly updated and with different games. And Street Fighter 6 is on there. I think Strive's on there as well. Is definitely on there as well. I don't know what else it might have, but that I use that all the time, especially at tournaments, because you'll see something, you'll be like, "Ooh, I actually haven't seen that move. I don't know what that is. Is that punishable? How punishable?" You see
Yeah.
it up, and this actually helped me at Winter Showdown when I had to fight that Manon player. I actually did. I knew what the move he was doing was negative, but I didn't know how negative. Went to FAT, click it up. Move is negative 24. Oh, I'm gonna blow that up if he does that to me. So
Yeah.
that I had that going in. So that's something that you can have literally on your phone. Does not require any data. Get and download that. So
Yeah, it's also good too. If you're in the server, we recently just like remodeled. So we actually have new threads and things like that. So we have like an FGC terminology thread, and we are going through and we're actually linking these sites. So if you're wondering like footsies, fundamentals, things along that nature, frame data, we are actually adding these things in here, and everything is pinned, so you can go in there and you can find all this stuff. So you're not having to guess and check and figure out frame data. And that's what like is also a good thing when you go to a tournament and you have the homies with you, because somebody might know something that you don't know, where it is like, hey, when they're doing this is positive, or this is negative, or they can get on that tool for you, kind of thing. And oftentimes, you might see somebody run up in, between, oh, I just lost that first match, and then somebody runs up, you see them take the headphone off because someone's telling them in their ear. They might be saying, look for this because this is positive or negative and things like that. And I mean, you can do that by yourself, but it's also you're more observant when you have friends there with you, because they might see stuff that you're not noticing.
word.
So I think I actually want to talk about, because we briefly talked about it in the first fundamentals, buffering. So like another good thing that I feel like it's something I actually need to work on as well, but like buffering that drive rush to be as fast as possible. And the reason this is super important is so if Chris would drive rush a button for me, you'll see that it takes 3 bars
Ooh,
if
nice. I
you're
got first
canceling
try.
out of it. No, do the other one where you're like
Oh,
yeah, so 3 bars. So you have 6 bars of drive
yeah.
rush. If you drive rush a move into another move, that's half of your drive gauge. Versus being able to do it raw, it's 1 bar. So you want to be able to do that as fast as possible. And that's where like that buffering input kind of comes in, because you're essentially it's kind of really weird timing, because you're essentially buffering off of that first forward
Exactly.
button.
Yeah, you're buffering. You're seeing. As you see there, there's a forward before the second forward and parry, and you're basically buffering a dash into the drive rush, and that's how you get
Yep.
that input here.
And it's a lot faster than you think. Like you're basically pressing forward and then forward and your 2 medium buttons at the same time, and it's a lot faster than what you're thinking. Because that was the hardest thing for me when I first started kind of doing it. It was like, man, why is this coming out? And it was because I was doing it too slow. So I think we covered buffering inputs, which is super important. Buffering inputs, combos, things of that nature. So I think we really want to touch base on anti-airing more now, because we're trying to give you guys a breakdown of like what to look for, because people oftentimes get into fighting games and the first thing they do is jump in and start learning combos. And we had a great example of that last week on SBO, where we had 2 newcomers join, and one was kind of combo focused, the other one was playing a grappler. So playing a grappler, you don't have to necessarily worry about combos as much, but it's kind of cool because it kind of shows you like, yeah, combo characters are really cool too, but you can also get really far just off of fundamentals by itself. And I think one of the biggest fundamentals there is in any fighting game period, maybe not 3D fighting games, but like, is anti-airing. Anti-airing is so important because it really does help you work so hard in times to basically get screen control where you want it to be. Like right now, I'm in the corner with Chris. The last thing he wants to do is give up this corner.
100%.
So whether it's
very
the
important.
corner or even mid-screen, and a lot of that is conditioning. So if you can condition someone to stop jumping at you because you're anti-airing so well, a lot of these other kind of pieces fall into place essentially. So I'll let Chris kind of go over anti-airing. And every character typically has an anti-air, whether it's invincible or it's a button or things along those lines.
All right, yes. Let's talk about anti-airs. They are very important at every level. at every level. This is not just a hey, here's a. This is important at every level because everyone jumps. The best player in the world jumps. All right, because there are only so many ways to get out, and you do have to. Sometimes you do have to represent a jump. You have to see how do they anti-air. You gotta test your opponent too. So anti-airs are very important. So there's typically, I want to say like 3 types of anti-air. So you have your vertical anti-airs, which is in Kimberly. This is her crouching heavy punch. As you see there, I'm going straight up and down. That's it. Then there's your stuff that's horizontal. In this case, for Kimberly, it's standing roundhouse. You'll see here, I'm kind of I'm hitting more forward than right above her head. For that, she also gets Tatsu, but her Tatsu currently is not the greatest because of where her anti-air frames are in this one. It can get stuffed a lot, but in general,
that was one of the weirdest. Like, that was like to me, it felt like very premature because if you didn't play the beta. Like Kimberly's Tatsu, her EX Tatsu used to be invincible, and then they were like, just kidding, and they removed it for whatever reason, and the game wasn't even out yet. So
also the thing is, not only was this invincible like from frame 1 for reversal and everything, but these had better anti-air frames, and that's kind of the main thing. Like, of course, we'd love to have a invincible reversal on wake up, but also the fact that this just gets stuffed a lot because the anti-air frames are not that great. But it does still work as an anti-air. Ironically, it works really well against Jury because she has a kind of a floaty jump. So you can kind of hit that here. And even with her dive kick, because currently she cannot choose a different angle for dive kicks. So even if she tries to delay it and dive, this will still hit. So for that, it's really good.
That's one of the buffs I hope she gets. I don't think she will, but yeah.
So you basically, what you gotta do is find your buttons for the situation, and sometimes they're not the buttons you think they are. So like for example, this move right here, her stand roundhouse, is 12 frames. Typically you want a faster anti-air, but because it hits so horizontal, and it actually does have anti-air frames, it works. Oops, I was holding back. So you can see here from. So he did like a further away jump, and here I'm actually being a little slow. Yeah, jump medium punch is a weird button too for her. But
I'll do medium kick.
Oops, so stop holding back. There we go. I'm holding back and I get her overhead. But it's really good. So if for specifically Kimberly, that button's really good for any horizontal people who have horizontal jumping. So that's gonna be like your Geef, JP, Marissa, Manon. They have like really horizontal buttons, so like stuff like this. Kimberly's don't really use this too much for jumping; it's more of a cross-up button. But players who have buttons like this and they use them a lot. So like Geef will use his jump medium kick, I believe it is, and it'll kind of hit forward like that. All of Marissa's stuff, she kind of hits like that. So those are the buttons you want to use for here. So Duran has Jury, who has a great anti-air. She's always had this. She's had this before when she came out with Crouching Fierce. She also has a DP. But Crouching Fierce, you can see there, just it's now the reason why hers is really good is not only because she's sticking her foot up, but she's crouching down. So it's moving her hurt box down and sticking her foot up. So in order for me to beat that button, I would have to be really deep or she'd have to be slow on pressing it. So that's a really good anti-air. He also has a DP, which is an invincible anti-air. So let's show that here. So he did regular, which is upper body invincible, meaning that the upper half of her body is going to be invincible. That's good for anti-air buttons because buttons that come with that are coming here. So I'm coming for the head. I'm not getting to the feet. And then for people who have invincible here, if he spins 2 bars here, let's say I was up, that went a little further here, but let's see. So if you see there, I was kind of deep in there. Like I might have hit a foot if he did a regular one. I might have hit a foot and traded with them there or something like that. But because he did the fully invincible one, fully head to toe invincible, I got hit. And so that's something, but anti-airs are super important. There are a lot of things to think about with that, but in general, you're going to find your buttons. So for me, it's always going to be these 2. It's a little matchup dependent. Like this right here, this is really important currently in the Luke matchup because this right here is, it does not move her hurt boxes at all. So you can see her elbow is right at her head.
Yeah.
So this is why it trades a lot. So like, go ahead and do jump medium. medium punch for me.
Kick. Okay.
So let's see if I can. Oh, of course now I'm on point. There you go.
There you go.
And see, I'm still trying to hit it, but you see that traded because it hits her head. So that's why, as good as this is, and it's really good, I'm not going to ever say it's a bad button, but because it does not move her hurt box down like the way it does for his Crouch Fierce, you'll see a lot more trades with her. This has some anti-air frames, and so it won't trade as much, but because of that, but it will because you're slow, because it's 12 frames. So you do have to be on point with it. But if you're a Kimberly player and you have to fight Luke, or you have to fight Ken, and they use that Jump Fierce, this is really good. This will beat it clean. It also helps you because you know, hey, if I'm too slow for this, I'm just gonna block. I'm not gonna worry about a trade in his favor and get comboed, or I just get stuffed. It's either I press the button and I know it's gonna hit, or I'm just gonna block. So that helps a lot too. So find your stuff. So one thing to think about as well, drive. Drive makes everything different. So just neutral jump for me. All right. So, yeah. So, as you see there,
That's 3,500 damage.
yes, 35 for 1 bar here. So think about that when you're thinking about anti-airs. If you got a character who has a good anti-air, especially when you fight people who are doing stuff like this at this range, you know, ooh, what do I do here? Maybe you got one of those, you know?
Yeah.
So that's something to think about here, especially in burnout. When people are burned out, they want to do this. They want to jump back. They don't want to be on the ground because they don't want to have to be forced to block and take something, and now they're in an infinite block string or whatever. They want to hear. So that would be one thing to think about here as well when you come here. Also, there are certain other things that can be used. So like neutral jump for me again, just here. So there's buttons like that. You know, you might have a move like that as well. That one's kind of situational. You can't react to that really. You got to kind of know, hey, you're going to be jumping. But this gets a lot of stuff there. And then once again, you get a full combo, everything you want. So that's something to, like, there are moves you might have that, like, okay, like, for example, I don't know, Jury Light DP. It goes forward. But maybe if I'm neutral jumping and he doesn't want to risk a medium, and like, ooh, they get stuffed. Okay, yeah. That one gets stuffed. So that one's not gonna work in that
Which is
situation.
okay because she goes so horizontal that I would never use that.
But in this situation, I was just trying to think of something. But to be fair, yeah, he has a real DP, so he's not gonna worry about that. But I'm like, think of your character. Geef has Lariat, of course. Geef also has good buttons.
But even like, there's a good example, like, if you've ever played Street Fighter in its existence, like, Geef's Lariat used to be like one of the strongest anti-air moves in the whole series because it hit forward, hit behind. It didn't matter, dude. It hit everywhere.
It hit everywhere.
And now it doesn't hit behind him anymore.
So let's go into that. That's good. I almost forgot about that. So in this game, cross-ups and there are not many anti-airs that beat cross-ups. So cross-ups are buttons that are basically when you do a move that looks like it's hitting in the front, but it's actually looks like it's hitting behind or whatever, but you land in front. So in this situation, his anti-air is not going to hit me, even if he DP. So he waited, so he hit that late and then DP'd the right side. But if he DP's too early, it would hit the wrong way. So
that's high level stuff because they call them cross cut. Basically, like, you're getting crossed up and you're essentially delaying your DP. So you're doing your DP the normal direction, but then you're actually ending with the DP motion the opposite way, and it basically covers that cross up. So like, Jury has one of the best because it's already good, and you're just waiting for it to cross up, and it moves horizontally so much that you know it's going to hit still.
Yes, and if you are someone who has like, if you're a Kimberly player or have a button where it's Tatsu or something like that, where it's quarter circle back for your anti-air, it's you're gonna do quarter circle back and then forward. So for that, so let's say if it came out, but let's see. There we go. So you see that it's quarter circle back and then forward, then press the kick. With Kimberly specifically, I tend to only really use that with a DR. Like if I'm DR and I see them jumping over me. That'll be hit. But what you'll see more often these days is a parry. People are going to parry more. And of course with that, there's a risk on that because if let's say, the easy way to beat that is empty jump. But you get to show them. That said, this is really important for if you're not ready for a cross cut, if you don't have a button or something like that. Sometimes all you can do is parry. And then if you get a perfect parry, then you'll get, a punish of some sort or throw. It depends, honestly, because normally you're so plus after a jump in that even if you get a perfect parry, you are not guaranteed a punish on a jump in. But it is your turn. It is always going to be your turn. So there's that. Unless they do something crazy, they do a DP, they do a super, in which case it wasn't going to be your turn anyway. But that's kind of, I think the gist of anti-air is you're going to find is typically going to be find your vertical, find your horizontal, do you have a special move that does it for you, and then if you have a special move, learn your cross cut. Do you have some situational stuff? Like, again, this is not something I can rely on as an anti-air, but if I know this person's going to want a neutral jump in the corner or something like that, then I can get this and I can get big damage. Same thing with this, with drive rush. If I know I can spy a neutral jump, this one's a little bit more reactable where I can see them, but I know if I can get that, I'm going to get big damage. So anti-airs, very, very important. And if you don't have a strong anti-air, you need to learn some air-to-airs. And that's when you jump hit a button. And I'm going to just briefly go over that because I feel like it's part of anti-airs, because if you don't have a strong anti-air like Marissa, you're going to need to learn how to be good with air-to-air.
Or
find your
if
button.
you're not good at anti-airing as well. Air-to-air anti-airing is not the best, but like I would much rather you do something than nothing.
Yes.
Like, don't let them just keep jumping on you. And that's another good example of like SBO for last week. Everybody has nerves. So when you're on stream and people are watching you, those nerves are real. So that's why it's also important to learn these other anti-airs where it's like maybe you're just not comfortable and you're just not hitting that DP. That's why I default to like, that instead. Because that's a lot easier to do where I'm just pushing down in a button versus
that's one button.
DP.
It's down. It's one direction, one button versus a whole motion.
Yeah.
So that's definitely important to learn. And then like with air-to-airs could be you just weren't ready, but you right there. Now, and that's really good for positioning too. So let's say try to jump over me like you're gonna cross me up. Like if I had just blocked that, he's got better positioning. He's right on top of me. He's here. If we were in the corner, he could be out the corner if he gets the cross up, something like that. But if I get a button, air-to-air, I could keep my positioning. So let's say he's here. I wasn't ready for this, and he jumps, and then there you go. I'm still in. He didn't get away. I still keep my pressure. Again, we're going to talk about burnouts later. That's really important. People are going to try to get away with you. They're going to try to jump away from you because of burnout. They don't want to be on the ground because they don't want to catch an accidental block or an accidental DI. And you got to be ready for stuff like that. And
certain characters actually have, like, I know Jury, for example, like if I air-to-air with you with my crouching medium, I can actually dive kick off of it.
Yep, and you can do the same thing with Tatsu.
Yep. So it's super important. That's why I think one of the things that a lot of us kind of preach when you first start playing fighting games is like, bro, I don't care who you play. Just play one character. Like, because especially you're trying to learn the game, you're trying to learn the system, and then you're jumping characters too. Like, it's a lot, man. And I get it. If you're high level and you've been playing for a while, it's okay. It's actually good to have multiple characters because certain matchups are better than others, and things along that line. Like, I hate fighting Guile as Jury, so like eventually when I'm comfortable enough with my Jury, I'll learn another character to fight Guile or like Blanca, because those matchups are just a pain in the ass.
The same.
Kind of
I don't like fighting Guile with Kimberly because it feels like I have to guess more than he does. And so, we'll see what happens with Akuma. But Akuma could be my, character I fight with Guile because he has some of the same tools that can help him with that. But, I would not. I will mess with Guile, but the first thing I'm going to do, or mess with Akuma. But the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to look at these Kimberly changes and see what my girl's doing, and then I'm going to go do some combos in the training mode and see, find some fake day one demon setups that'll catch some people, that kind of thing. But I always focus on your main first. But yeah, these are really important, and you're gonna get some stuff here. So like as he already mentioned here, so you're gonna get stuff as you learn your character. So neutral jump for me. So
Yep.
you can see I got that. Do it one more time. Let's see if I can get this. So you'll see, yeah, things like that. Let's 3K
That's
off of that.
3,000 damage, dog.
Oh, and with the patch coming, she'll be able to combo that in level 2.
Yeah. Which she needs, because I mean I'm all for characters getting buffs that need it.
Yeah. So things like that. You'll Ken has something similar where he'll do that jump medium punch in the EX Tatsu into DP and everything. So yeah, anti-airs, air to airs, really good to know. Really like you fundamental, and like the thing is, again, you'll see this at every level. And now that you know about this, go watch some matches, go see how often people will let you get away with a jump or something like
Yeah.
that. And the thing with that is, if I'm someone and I see them not DPing me, I know I'm jumping. Like, they're not gonna
Yeah.
anti-air me. Okay, cool. Thank you for the free pressure.
Yeah. That's what
Show
I
me.
was like teaching my buddy that just started playing, was like we'd push to the corner and he'd get there and it'd be like he would just let me keep doing stuff. I'm like, dude, you have to you got to do something. Like, blocking's good, but it's okay to challenge stuff. I can't have pressure on you forever.
Yes.
DPs are also good too, because you need to show your opponent that, like, look, man, I'll let this shit rip too, man. Like,
Yes, you do have to let them know.
it's not just your turn.
Because if like some people will respect you based on the fact that you have it, and some people will respect you letting you know you use it. I kind of waver between both, but I try to fall on the show me that you're going to use it side.
Yeah.
So for example, Jury versus Kimberly, I like that matchup. One of the things specifically is she cannot DP my cans. So if I knock her down and I throw a can down, she has to hold that, because if she DPs on wake up, she's gonna fall into the can. I get a combo.
Yeah.
But but you still have to show me you're willing to DP, because if not, I'm gonna assume you're like, okay, they may not know when they're allowed to DP, and they need to show me that they're still gonna DP. Otherwise, I'm gonna just go ham on wake up, and you gotta guess every time, and that's not gonna be good for you, because eventually you're gonna get touched, and now you gotta guess again. So you don't want to be in that situation here. And then there's one last thing I want to talk about before we move on, and it's going to do it real quick, and that's anti-airs. So some characters have moves that change their jump arc or
Cammy.
So Cammy, Jury not as much anymore as she did, but she still kind of, because she can delay her jump a little bit. So maybe you saw the jump and then you anti-aired, but she did a dive kick a little bit, and you see here it whiffed. So not as bad here, but as you see right there, I got hit. But Kimberly has her Bushin elbow right here. It whitens her hurt box a bit, but in general, I use this a lot, especially against people that have DPs. Hers is pretty horizontal, so she still hit me from this range, but some have that go right up and wouldn't hit because of that here. But
I think any character that can change their arc momentum is usually pretty viable.
Yeah, that's a really good thing to have. So think about that yourself. If you're worried about their anti-airs, think about how you can possibly change your jump arc with moves.
Because Jury's got some really filthy, her dive kick I would like to see buffed, but she has it. It is good, and you can do it. I mean, you can do it early. You can kind of delay it, so they already anti-aired, then you commit to the dive kick to blow up said anti-air. She's got her jump light kick, which is really good. She's got jump round.
That one is nasty. The jump fierce.
But what's so good about this is it hits. It's really hard to guess which way it's gonna hit, because it's hitting you above your head, and it forces you to a hard knockdown. And if they block it, you're in so much hit stun or block stun that it's hard to do anything about.
I'm trying. Ooh, I'm doing it kind of early too. Yeah, I'm doing it. I know it's coming. I know it's early, and it's still right there. That's the only reason to hear. But you can see hits kind of cross up. It comes out real quick. Yeah, it's that one in match, especially when they're close to you. So I was right here when he was doing it, but if he was right here, that's really and that was late. That only worked because it was late. But when you're body to body, it's really annoying, because you don't get crouching fierce is only right above her. I was crouching fierce. I just got stuffed. It's so stuff like that. Learn your anti-airs and learn your anti-airs. So if you got them,
and it's a hard knockdown, so you can't backroll that. You got to stay there. All right, so we went over anti-airs. I think that was super important, and it's viable to know. If you're not feeling yourself in tournament or a stream, it's okay to dumb it down, man. So Now we want to jump into a little bit of combo. I don't think we're gonna deep dive. I honestly think we could do like a whole ass video just on combos because we could do character specific combos. We could do which combos to do in which situation. So we'll kind of briefly talk about combos right now, and the reason we're going to talk about combos is because it's going to lead us into our next segment where we've had people asking questions. What does this mean? So,
Word. So combos. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard for us to go in depth without speaking about your particular character. So we're gonna keep it real brief. There are a bunch of different options here. You have broadly, and I'm off the dome here. Broadly, you have like your damage combos. You have your positioning combos. You're gonna have your situational combos. That's kind of just broadly off the top of my head how I think about it. So, for example, something like this. Now, I did that combo not because it does more damage than any other combo I have, but because Run Slide moves her the furthest, and Kimberly, I want you in the corner. So you have that. That's something like a positioning combo. Let's do that here. I wanted her in the corner. That's not nearly the most damage I can get, but it took no resources. I threw her in the corner. Now I have positioning.
The corner's scary, bro. Like, I would much rather take the corner over, 30% more damage that we normally see in a situation like that.
Once again, positioning here. So I got here. So if I want the corner, I have meter to spend. That's one way to do it here. Again, positioning here. So these are all I'm doing here is due to positioning. So that's kind of the way I think of that. So they're basically combo that you do because to put them where you want them. Typically going to be the corner for pretty much everybody, but sometimes you don't want them in the corner. Sometimes you want space. So like for example, I'm in the corner. I may not necessarily, and I'm burnt out. Maybe I don't necessarily want the corner. I just want space. So maybe I'll do something like this. And I'm here, and now we're back at mid-screen, and you got to force me into the corner, something of that nature here. But then, like I said, you have your damage combos. So let's do.
Yeah, and I feel like damage combos are like people start getting into like fighting games, and this is the first thing they learn. Like, I need to learn this combo that's gonna do so much damage, and then they go into like a fight, and they're like, yo, this dude's not standing still. He's moving. He's doing stuff. And realistically, you may not hit that very often. So I think it is actually more important to learn like jab combos or medium combos because your opponent's not going to be plus all the time. So like the combo that Chris showed where it was that 5,000 damage is great. Like say if like he blocked my uppercut. That's when you would let something like that rip.
Yeah.
So I would love to, maybe Chris can show us like, oh, this is like a light combo that I would go into. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but maybe it knocks them down. It keeps my turn going. It's a viable punish off of basic stuff because you're gonna hit a lot of jabs and shorts and stuff like that.
So let's do that real quick. So here's a combo you're gonna see me do a ton depending on here. So that did 1326. That's nothing. But what does it do for me? I'm at advantage here. I'm +3, and she's standing, which means she has to guess. So because I'm plus, any button she hits outside of a reversal, meaning a dragon punch or a super, is going to get beat. So at this point, even though that did no damage, it set up a guess situation. And look at where I'm at. Look how close we are. So if I press this, she's hit. And honestly, if you're at a lower level, something like this could get you here. At a lower level, people here. So, and then walk up, throw. Oops, messed up there. Actually, don't practice that. Just press the button. They could get something like that, and then they get hit because they press the button.
Yeah, even being in that range to like stop in front of their face, you're +3. Chris can pretty much choose what button he wants to press. I mean, yeah, of course, if he's doing like a heavy, like a fierce or roundhouse or something like that, and I do a jab, of course it's gonna lose. But like, he's got free range to mediums because he's +3.
Yeah.
So even if his, his crouching medium kick is 7 frames, so that's still going to beat a jab. But what's
Yep.
even better about it too is he's so close that he can micro walk throw me, and
Yep.
that's where it gets scary. That's where the shimmies kind of come in. So he walks forward and throws
That-
me, and then I'm trying to guess. So now I'm anticipating the
That-
throw.
Yeah.
So go ahead and do your combo and act. I'm assuming she gets a shimmy off of this.
Yeah. So pretty much, so here we can walk up this throw, right? I don't have to micro walk because I'm in the corner here. And then if he anticipates the throw,
Yep. So I threw. He blew that up for me
Yeah.
attempting to throw, because I'm guessing like, oh, I think this dude's gonna throw me.
Yeah.
Instead, he just walks back and he blows up my throw, my whiff throw.
and the thing is, they're gonna do that. So you're gonna, if you don't like, this is a particular situation, so something like that. But there are various situations similar to this where you're gonna use basically what we consider RPS, rock paper scissors. So in order for him to beat my button, he has to do a reversal or a parry. That's it. That's the only thing he can do.
And then parry's scary still, because if you
But,
parry, he throws.
But exactly,
And-
parry can be beat by throw, and then a DP can be beat by a shimmy. So if I went for a shimmy thinking he's gonna throw and he DPs, that's gonna beat the throw and it's gonna beat the DP because I blocked and now you get the full combo. So and depending on the character, I could do something like that. So a little combo, 1300 damage could. You know, that could lead to a lot. Like,
Yeah.
look at that. You're almost
Jury has the
half-life.
same thing where like the first thing that if you're a jury player you should learn is like stand medium punch, crouch medium punch, Fuha store, and the reason is
drop
because you can do stuff like, and now you're in their face. So like it's still my turn, I'm plus, but what's also really good about it is I get a Fuha store off of that. So it's like I get throw, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's where it kind of plays into that game.
Yep, and so now I gotta guess. So at this point, okay, I gotta guess strike or throw, and with if I'm thinking strike, I gotta I'm guessing parry. But if I guess wrong, I got thrown here. If I'm guessing throw, I'm throw teching or I'm backdashing. But if I guess wrong and it's a meaty, you get hit there. So like these little things can lead here, and even then I can still turn that into a positional advantage, right?
Yeah.
So I still get something like that. Not that I keep doing that. It shouldn't be that. I think it's just dash. Is just just dash. Then I
Yeah,
get a
super
little thing
plus
there.
Yeah, that's super important. I don't know, did we cover knockdowns in Fundamentals 1?
I don't think so, but that kind of leads into the next one. So that all works out for this. So we're leading to that with the Oki will come here. So yeah, with your combos, like I said, broadly gonna think of it as positioning advantage, damage, and I forgot what I said the other one was. Just kind of positioning event, and then setup. Actually, I think I'd probably go with 2 because
I'd
depending
say like
on
Oki setup type of
yeah.
situation.
So like with Kimberly, I could do this, and this does more damage. But because of my knockdown, I'm only 20 frames. I can't throw a can. Can's 44 frames. I need at least a 45 frame of knockdown to have an advantage on when you do that. So if I were to do this here, and you see that, so I get that. But if I want a can, I have to give up damage, as you see there.
Yeah.
But that also gives me more. So sometimes you gotta think about what you want there, and that's really how you think about combos. I think overall, yes, you want to optimize it, but the way scaling is, you can kind of do something similar and get similar damage. It's more about what's the knockdown, what's the spacing advantage, what's the positioning advantage, and also what resources do you have and can you use. So you got drive, as we mentioned earlier. If you drive cancel, you use 3 bars. If you raw, you only use 1. So you could do once again, and now I'm here.
This is where like you would do like character specific stuff on your own. Like we can't break down every character in this game, but like that's why it's important that you want to learn like light combos. You want to learn medium combos. Like big combos are fun too, but like realistically, especially when you're first starting out, realistically you're not going to be hitting these big button combos to start. Because your opponent's moving. I mean, there's just so much stuff going on versus, oh, this guy did something that was -2 or 3. I put out a jab, my jab hit. That's when you need to be landing those combos.
Yeah, and like I say,
Styles on me.
I mean, it's let me drop it like 4 times. But yeah, these are things.
Not with the power of editing.
Yeah, this is one of those things for sure. Like you just gotta learn, what you need, and it is like here, like something like this. This is really important for me because this button right here is plus, but it's not special countable. So the only thing I can do here really is that. And if I
Which
see
is crazy. I did not know that because I feel like crouch medium kicks in this game are so strong. So to have a good crouch medium kick, because it looks pretty decent, and it's 7-frame startup, which is really nice too, but not being able to special cancel it, that's rough.
Yeah. But it's plus on block, so you take the good. I wish he had a normal that would hit a little bit more consistent. But it's still good. You can do stuff like that. You can see here, like this is the stuff. Like those little combos are the things that are going to turn into wins.
Yeah.
So like I said, this right here. Now, and we get the knockdown. Oh, now we got to do it. We got to. So that's something.
Yeah, and that wasn't even 2,000 damage. Like it wasn't crazy big damage, but like that situation is so important to Kimberly and. Having that opponent have to guess, because I mean that's what a majority of the characters in this game is a strike throw.
Like that stuff right there. This is a little combo that now turns into. This is a safe jump. He has to guess here.
Yeah.
So that kind of things right there.
Is safe jump universal 42 frames?
Yes. So,
okay.
Yeah, 42 frames. So I think. Well, you want to go into it? Let's go into it.
I know Jury's is 42 frames.
Yeah. So
what we mean by that is like whatever combo Chris does, he needs it to end and him be at least plus 42.
Got a little lag there.
So it'll actually show you in the bottom. So see, he's plus 42 advantage. So that means he can jump and do whatever button he wants. It's usually going to be a heavy button. And what safe jump means is even if I DP that, of course I fuck up the timing.
Oh, if I don't mess it up, apparently. Let's not mess that up.
So he's safe off of that. So he's basically putting himself into a situation that he's so positive and advantageous on like wake up that like he can do this setup, and if your opponent presses a button, they block.
Yeah.
And if you don't, and you just block, you're still, it's what, like -2 or something like that?
No, because just a jump in, you're gonna be very plus because you're blocking a jump in.
Okay, so you're plus off of blocking it, and then say they don't press something. So Chris do his normal combo.
So yeah, so if I do, oops, wrong one. So
I didn't block there, so now he gets full combo there.
Yep. So I get a full combo.
Safe jumps are super important and viable because of that.
Is I typically do that because I can react to if it hits or not. And then if it hits, you get a full combo, so I can do that here. And then if it doesn't hit, because this right here is plus on block, so I still get that. So I really love this particular setup. Any safe jump, she has multiple, as you can see I did here. And yes, there are characters that have multiples, so that's another safe jump here. Actually, let me just not jump, so you can see that says 42.
Yep. So that's the magic number that he's trying to go for, and you can kind of lab things where you're like, oh, what does this put me at after they wake up? And if it's like 42 frames, it's probably a safe jump.
Yes, just like Hitchhiker's Guide, the answer to life is 42.
42. So I think this is actually a good kind of segue into Oki, because I know we had a couple of people ask in the community, what the hell's Oki?
All right.
So we'll let Chris kind of explain it, and he'll kind of give situations, and this is where we wanted to do combos first because we can show you how important it is. So he's going to do this combo, and he's basically going to put himself in a situation where Oki, quote unquote, comes into play.
Yes. So let's talk about Oki. That's why I made sure to pick Kimberly today, because Oki is very important to her. Oki is short for Okizeme, is a Japanese word, and it basically means attacking on wake up. So Oki can be basically it's like when your opponent's waking up, what you're doing to them. That's your Oki. Now Oki can be interpreted a couple different ways. Some people think of only having a mix-up. Some people think of it just being here. I personally err towards the you're making them guess something way of Oki. Some people prefer the next thing we're going to talk about in a little bit, which is a Meaty. Basically just means that they're blocking something. Um, Here, and we'll get into that a little bit and go here. But in general, with Oki, we're talking about what you do to them on their wake up. Kimberly is the master, is a master of that. There are others, of course, but that's really where she shines, is getting you a knockdown and you having to guess on what's happening. So one of my favorite knockdowns, I'm just going to talk about how it works. So this combo right here. So this leaves me at a 20 frame knockdown. You don't need to know the exact numbers for this. This is just how I calculate it, so you can figure out what you're able to do. So 20 frames. Now this knockdown, I already know what I can do here because I've watched other Kimberly players. Plus I've labbed this myself. Again, I stole some of this from other players and then I just expanded upon it. Do the same. Don't do all the work yourself. As they say, wise people learn from the mistakes of others. Learn from the success of others as well. So with this, I have a 22 frame overhead. Again, do you see that? 20, 22, 2 frames.
Yep.
No one has anything that can do anything in 2 frames besides, again, a reversal, being an invincible reversal, whether that be a super or a dragon punch. So if Jury's pressing a button on wake up, that's the counter hit. It doesn't matter. If they don't press it, I still get a combo. So this is why this is still good, because here. But the thing is, oh, why don't they just block high? I dropped it, but you see there I have a low. So let me try not to drop the combo this time. So again, that's already 2 things. And then of course the throw. And a little shimmy action in there too, but typically I personally, and then this is how my character works. You have to figure out how your character works. But in general, you want to figure out how to set up a high, low, or throw option on wake up so that they have to play the guessing game. That's typically how here. Now, some people just want to have pressure. Like, let's say, for example, you were low on drive. Let's say you had like 1 bar. In this case, I'm not really going to try to go for a mix-up or pressure. I'm going to try to force you to block. So I'm going to maybe go for a safe jump there because I know you either going to DP, I'm fully safe. You super, I'm fully safe. If you parry, okay, I have to do a little guessing game there. But parry isn't going to punish me because I'm doing this, which is, again, really plus. So parry does not mean I'm punished.
Do it again?
Yeah. So parry doesn't change your regular parry doesn't change your frame data, and as you can see here, I'm only -5 at that point. So you would have to do a jab punish for it to get anything there. Like okay, yeah, if I was close enough, you could throw, but that was kind of but so like there's still very good risk reward and allows you to set up things as well. So that's kind of how Oki work is basically you want here. So Kimberly. I have a lot of things here. Now throw. I mistimed it because I did here. I actually don't even go for this. Let's see what let me go for here. Let's get some cans. Something like that. You get a run. Let's see what else. Something like that. I just made that up. That was fake as hell. I'm trying to think of various things. I'm not actually. Let's let go to. I'm not because I'll be here all day if I want to go with Kimberly stuff. But yeah. So and that's
in layman's terms. Like a simple breakdown is like Oki is essentially like the way I think about it in my mind is like, oh, I knocked my opponent down. It's time for them to guess. Like, what are they going to wake up and do? Where it's like, and I can dictate that. So it's like, oh, I go for a low. You stood blocked. Oh, I went for an overhead. You crouch blocked. Oh, I didn't even go for any of that. I just threw. Yeah. And that's where like throw loops kind of come into like talk as well, where it's like throw loops are dangerous because it's like, so like I'm playing Jury, I throw loop. Like Chris basically has to decide whether he's gonna parry,
Yeah.
he's gonna throw, or I can overhead.
So, like, yeah, you can see there, I got punish counter because let's say I'm like, oh, he's not going to throw 3 times in a row. He's going to press a button now. And I guess parry. Oh, I just got punish countered because of that.
Yeah.
Something like that. So these are things right here. And Oki is, I want to say, it's both. It's Oki continues again, just like anti-air. Oki's always going to be with you. It's gonna expand as you expand, as you get better. Your Oki will get better. There are a lot of different things. So here's one for Kimberly that I love. So you see there, mid-screen, I was able to still get the same thing, and that's something I do a lot. I will drill. This is how I drill Oki, is I will do the same thing over and over again. I dropped that one. So normally I'll be like, okay, time to start over. Get the life bar. Dropped it. So clearly I need to start practicing this. I might be the lag too. Oh, that's probably me. There we go. And now that. That's literally, I will drill that over and over again. If you can find loopable Oki like that, that's really good because you're putting them in the same situation, and that is what we refer to as the blender. You're putting them in the blender because they're put in the same situation, and it's a mix over and over again, and they have to guess, and all of a sudden, oh man, I'm dead. And Kimberly is that type of character. Actually, most characters in this game are those type of characters where they can put you in that situation to be guessing. And so that's how you want to learn what to do with your character, is put them in those situations where they have to guess on these knockdowns. And if you can find something loopable like that, or even, that's really, really good. And that will also inform how you play your game. So like Kimberly being really good Oki in the corner, I'm going to do whatever I can to get you to the corner. And now you're in the corner. That was 2 hits. And that was how it here. There are other things I could have done. So for example, block on this after this, block high. So I was a little slow. Alright, let me hit you, let me get the knockdown. Alright, block high. There. Oh man, I'm slow. I haven't done this in a minute. So this, if I don't mess this up, this is negative +1. Ah, I'm 0. Jeez, I suck. I'm sorry, guys. There we go.
There you go.
So I haven't done that in a minute. That was an early Kimberly find. But the problem with that one, and here's another thing about Oki. As I talk more here, I'm gonna try to keep it cool here. But see, that's +1. The problem is that he doesn't have a low option there. If he just back rolls, this isn't real. So if I were to knock her down and run and try to mix this up because he sees the run, all he has to do is block high, because block back roll and this won't reach at that point. So
and back
you gotta
roll
find
is any 2 buttons, right?
Yeah, any 2 buttons, or just hold back when you're
Oh, I did not know you could hold back.
Yeah, you can just hold back. Or am I lying? Did you hold? I might be lying.
Yeah, that didn't work.
Okay, I'm a liar. I thought it was hold back.
I thought it was just 2 buttons.
Okay, yeah, I just drum buttons anyway, so that's always been my thing. So I'm sorry for lying to you guys.
Guilty Gear habits.
Yeah, I just drum buttons anyway. So that's here. But yeah, if you just press nothing, you'll neutral, and that's good for here as we remake the Kimberly Bomb guide for season 2 when that drops. We'll talk about that in the future if it's still there. But here, so you're gonna figure out your different Okis. One good thing is try to make them look similar. So for like this here, you see is a run, right? So if now we get an overhead. All you saw was dash run. It looks the same. This right here, you see the green. Same thing. You see the green, so that can make it's tough for you to realize what's humming here. So
yeah, anytime you can do a move where it looks the same, but you're getting 2 different results, it's always good.
Yeah, because all they're gonna see is, okay, I saw this. I associate this with overhead. A lot of people do. So you see that here, especially, and again, know your character, know how people things. Kimberly really early on really exploited the overhead. So a lot of people default block high against her. And so this will work a lot of times just because people, oops, got a little lag there. This will work a lot of times just because people are used to seeing the overhead. They see that run on wake up and the it's really good. You get a knockdown, you get a setup on fit, it's a pretty good thing. But here, so I personally, the way to kind of bring it on home, the way I practice is I look at my numbers. So let's say I get a knockdown, right? All right, so that's a 23 frame knockdown. I know some Oki for that. I know some of my numbers. So I know a dash is 18 frames. So I know if I did this, but okay, I'm +3. What buttons can I press that are gonna make it so that if they press a button, I win? So if let's say they wake up with jab, their fastest button is 4 frames. Okay, that means I could do crouching mediums here. If they press a jab, I win. If they don't press anything, well, I'm still plus, right? Because it's a plus on block move. Yeah. That is something very basic for Oki. That you can, that you could hear. So if you got I got a knockdown. I don't know what to do. Literally, what you're gonna do? Okay, so that's 21 frames. Press a button. What is that? Oh, it's 7 frames. Okay. That's it. That is literally that quick. I'm like, oh, that's 7 frames. This button's 7 frames. This means I'm gonna hit what? Meaty, and we're gonna talk about that in just a sec. But because of that, I get a combo because that's 7. So normally, that's a 5 frame move. It hits this 5 frame advantage on hit normally. But because it was Meaty, you get a little extra frames, and we'll talk that in just a hot sec. But that's something very basic for how to figure out Oki is like, okay, I got this knockdown. If I do this, what happens? If I press this button, if I whiff a button, because you're gonna see a lot of setups where you whiff a button, and that leaves you at a certain frame advantage. And here, so that's real basic because I don't want to get into details. Yes, that is basic for at least for me anyway. When it comes to Oki, because you got to figure out how it works for your character, what buttons you need to whiff to auto time stuff. Anytime you have Oki, try as much as possible to make it what's called auto time, meaning you are not having to eyeball or just instinctually press a button at a certain time. I know that if I hit this, I whiff jab, crouch medium. Yeah. The only way that doesn't work is if I mess up.
He's putting out a button essentially to kill the frames, so he's not having to guess when to press that medium kick.
Yeah, that only doesn't work if I'm the one who makes a mistake here.
Yep.
All right, so last thing, let's get into it. We've been talking a lot. Lead them off, Molly.
So last but not, we actually have 2 things to cover. The other one is the burnout.
Oh, okay.
But this kind of leads into from Oki. So we're gonna talk about Meaty. We talking about a thick, juicy steak. That's why it's called a Meaty, because you're waking up into that shit, and that button is so damn solid that pretty much your only choice is to block on wake up. So Chris is gonna kind of give you a rundown what that is. So he already cheated and showed you some stuff. But he's going to show you basically where it's going to be a move, and that move's going to be out so early that like your opponent basically wakes up into it, and it kind of changes the properties of the move.
Yes. So Meaty basically is when you do a move early enough so that when it's recovering, the move's already recovering, but it's still active. You're hitting on the last couple frames of it being active, so that you have already recovered and you get extra advantage. I hope that makes sense to people. But basically, you're doing a move and it's recovering, like you're getting hit. So as you see here, there are those 3 red bars. Those are the active frames. So basically, you're hitting on like the last active frame of the move, so that she's basically recovering earlier than she normally would be if we just hit regular. So on here, that's only 5 frames. But if you get a Tatsu and I get it right, you see here I have advantage is 7 frames.
And that opened that 2 frames is huge. Yes. Like I know that sounds like, oh, it went from 5 frames to 7 frames. Who cares, bro? 7 frames is an eternity.
So here's all I can do: crouching medium, jab, crouching medium, strong. That's it, because those are my 4 frames and my 5 frame moves. That's all I can do in that normal situation. But if I get the Meaty, Look at how much I got there. Look at all the extra I got.
Yeah, versus stand short Tatsu.
Yeah, and so that's why meaties are really good and really strong. So there are a bunch of different ways to get meaties, but they're gonna be off a knockdown, and you have to kind of, like I said, figure out how you do your stuff.
Show everybody, like, yes, you play Kimberly, so you know, but like, say you were to start playing this character, because like I myself, I'm awful at meaties. So show me like what you would do. This is the new character. How would you go about finding a meaty?
So
Setup.
okay, so I would probably first thing I'm gonna do is be like, okay, what's my basic knockdown? So let's say I keep hitting the reset button, but this is not regular training mode. So okay, so let's talk about it. I don't use this knockdown a lot at mid screen. I typically only use it like here, but sometimes there are times where I want corner push, or I want to get room, I want to get space, something like that. I don't have a meaty for this, so let's figure it out. So like I said, I know, for example, it's a 21 frame knockdown there. I already know that's going to eliminate some things. So I already know this is not going to work because that's 22. 20. So I already know that's not going to work. So now I got to be, okay, does dash work? Oh, okay, dash works. So then, but I'm not going to be like, okay, dash doesn't work, I'm done. I'm going to be like, okay, what if I do this? Okay, that's 7 frames. Okay. Because I'm thinking, not only am I thinking what are they gonna block, but I'm also thinking, well, if they press a button, because that's the main thing with meaties. I'm not just wanting them to block. I want to know if they press a button or if I hit them, do I get something here? So I know, hey, if I get this is not gonna work from that range, but I already know this is a thing. So if that's here. Let's see. Okay, so I know, okay, I'm gonna get a dash here. Now, what, so I'm trying to basically see if I could time something to where I can hear. So let's see. Nope, that's not it. Alright, so that's meaty. So, what was it meaty? Let me see. Come on. Nope, that's not meaty, it's only 4. I do know that's going to beat anything they do, though, so that's also something you got to take in mind. I might not be able to get, like, a good meaty from this one here. We'll see.
Yeah, I'd have done a corner one. I'm assuming corner is probably a lot easier.
Corner is definitely going to be way easier, but I was just thinking of that here. Yeah, I pretty much probably wouldn't do that version here, but it is something I need to find a good knockdown for. And so that'll be something that, that would probably take too long for this, because I would go, let's see, what about this? What about that? Does that count? Let's find, like, okay.
So do that Tatsu in the corner or whatever you're doing, and don't press anything. So you're plus 21 there.
Yep. So I'm plus 21 here, and typically what I will do is first thing I'm gonna do, especially if I'm auto timing in the corner, is I'm gonna look for what my advantage is after I press a button. So I already know this is it. I already know it's jab. So, but I'm gonna literally press buttons and see. Okay, that's that. All right. Okay, that's negative, so that's not gonna work, right? Okay, so that's not gonna be it. What about short? Apparently, I can't press short.
That was the latest shit.
Yeah, there you go. So like that's still, oh hey, I'm 7 frames there. That still works. So that's still, hey. So that gave me a little bit less because I here, but I'm still meaty there. So, and some people like that because some people prefer that button to jab because it gives them a little bit more leeway to press it, but stuff like that. And then I could do, let's say I did this here. Okay, so that's not gonna work. That's too negative. Oh, hey, that's here, so that might work. There you go. I just made that up right now. I didn't know that was a thing. I literally just made that up. So I literally said, hey, this knockdown is this. What do I get here? And I saw the numbers. Oops, if I'm mashing too much. I was like, oh, woo, I could get even more. So that can lead to stuff like that. I'm being a little slow here. too slow right now. But I'm actually gonna lab that later.
Yeah, this is what like training mode is. Everybody thinks like I've had so many friends quit because they're like, bro, I don't want to just sit there in training mode and do combos. And it's like, bro, training mode is like 50% combos, 50% other shit. Like, yeah, you have to learn some stuff, but like, you could sit in training mode and just learn setups like this. Or if, you know, they press a button, what are you doing here? You know, so on and so forth. There's a lot to training mode, and that's why like we joke and say like, oh, the first thing we do is turn off music. The reason is because like, bro, I'm gonna be in training mode for a few hours. I don't want to sit here and listen, you know, to that. I'd rather listen to, you know, my playlist that I have made and, you know, things of that extent.
So like, oh, you can see me kind of here, but let's talk. Like, I'm dropping this. I think what it is the first time I did it, I was a little slow. So I'm getting 9 frames here, and because I'm getting that, so let me see what I get on here. So I'm a little slow. Come on.
So what he's trying to do for people that don't understand is like, he's getting that knockdown and then he's whiffing the crouch medium kick and then whiffing the crouch jab to basically kill frames. So he's not actually killing anything or removing frames or anything like that, but he's using those buttons to essentially guide himself when that third button should be out to hit. So instead of him sitting there and going, all right, I feel like that's been 15 frames, I'm going to press this button, he's doing frames to kill enough frames to equal 15 frames, or whatever many frames he wants.
And we finally landed it. See, and that is training mode in a nutshell, is me trying to figure. So like you see, I started out different, and I was like, okay, I'm off. Because I knew I needed 8 frames. Because 9 frames, I'm not I'm not going to be active anymore. I'm losing. My last active frame was on 8. So I was like, okay, I can't do that. It has to be 8. How do I get 8? 4 jab is 4 frames. That's too fast. 5 frame move. These are 5 frame moves. So now I can do that. And the thing about that as well is that people see you whiffing buttons, they're more inclined to press something. So they're gonna see those something out. So this could be this could be a little something I work on here. Actually, I'm probably not gonna do channel. See, I want to use. See, like here. No,
another thing that I think we missed on combos, but I do want to talk about it, is if you're ever trying to land a combo, because this will actually come up a lot, where like, say you're doing a combo and it's not hitting, if you're doing the move too slow, it won't come out. So like if you're doing a combo and the move is not coming out at all, I'm sorry, if you're doing a move and it's not coming out at all, you're doing that move too fast.
Yes.
So you're not letting your whatever move you're canceling from into that next move recover.
And I am notorious for that. I'm notorious for pressing buttons too quickly.
So, and then the opposite is the other effect. So if you're doing a move and like, say you're doing the move and the next part of your combo, they keep blocking, you're doing it too slow. Yes. That was one thing that like I learned that helped me tremendously, because I couldn't figure out like timing, and it was just like, how do I tell if a combo is hitting or not, or what am I doing wrong, kind of thing. So that's a good thing to remember. So it's like,
not available
if you're
here,
doing a move,
you got to go into
if you're doing a move and it's not coming out, you're doing it too fast. If you're doing a move and the opponent or the dummy is blocking, you're doing it too slow. So keep that in mind when you're doing your combos.
Yeah, it's not available in here, but it you definitely, when you're practicing combos, keep your dummy on at least block after first hit.
Yep.
Or something like that.
Yeah, mine's always set to that. All right, so quickly, this is something that I actually wanted to cover myself, and I think Chris can actually help us out with this. So I wanted to have a conversation about what it like when you burn. Basically, when you go into burnout in this game, you have one of two ways of essentially doing it. You're either doing it yourself because you're spending bar and you burn yourself out, or your opponent can actually burn you out. So what moves, like, so say I'm at 1 drive bar, what would you be able to do? Is it moves that hit, Is it only, you know, heavier moves that hit? Is it throws? Is it supers? We all know supers do, like level 3s take a bar and a half. But like, say I'm close to burnout, what is something, or my opponent is, what is something that I can do to burn them out?
All right. So first, it's blocking. Like if you just make them block. So as you see there, he's taking a little bit of drive damage. Not too much there because here he's doing jabs, slights, heavies. As you see, take more. So one thing, let's say I knock you down and I get a knockdown. I'm probably gonna go for safe jump just to make you block that. Because you block 2 heavies. Let's say you got here that he's burnt
Yeah,
out.
that's actually good to know too, because I do know that, like, depending on the strength of the move you do, it actually causes more drive rush to be removed. So,
Yeah.
like, I mean, that's half a bar off of one
Yeah.
button.
So that's one thing right there. That's already just making them block is really important here. Another thing could be, a DI. DI takes 1 bar, and that's really important. So let's say
Only on hit, correct?
yes, it's
Okay.
here. So yeah, if you block for me, yeah, takes half a
Oh, it
bar.
actually takes half a bar. I did not
Yeah,
know that.
because you're blocking a heavy move, really.
Yeah.
So that's why. But do a DP for me. As you can see there, punish counter took 1, then the DI took another.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, so you'll see a lot of people doing that here. They'll give up a lot of damage if they're here. So like you'll see that and right there, and you can find different options for that. There's some people have a little bit more extended combos. Can't do too much while keeping you still here, but like stuff like that, something as simple as that will get you, like I said, 2 bars here. Kimberly can kind of force some situations because of bomb. So like block this on wake up for me. Like
That's
that.
a lot. That's 3
Like,
bars.
so 3 bars, and that wasn't even like optimized. Like that was just kind of me freestyling here. So like there are legit, strategies around using Kimberly to burn you out. To like, I personally love that particular setup right there with the 2 bombs, because it almost guarantees a hit. But if I see you have less than 3 bars, I can pretty much guarantee a burnout there by using that and this, because I'm doing that. I'm throwing a second bomb. And now that the second bomb's out, I could do whatever. I could throw out some heavies and make you block, and then the bomb explodes and I throw another heavy. Like there are various options for that. So
But you don't actually take drive bar when you're hitting your opponent.
No.
Only when supers hit. Is it all supers or just level 3s?
All supers take it, but not that much. So here's a level 1. You can see.
Okay, so half a bar.
Half a bar there, and then let's go level 2. I think level 2 takes like 75. I don't think it takes a full one. Oh, it does take a full one.
That would make sense because it's probably 50 per level. Because level 3s are a bar and a half.
Yeah, level 3s are a bar and a half, and CAs are 2.
Okay, that's good. I did not know CAs was different.
Yep, CAs are 2. I forget that sometimes because yesterday I burnt somebody out when I was practicing, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. And I was not like, I was like, oh yeah, gonna burn. I was thinking in my head, what am I gonna do to make him block? So like, oh, I love this right here. I love it so much. Level 3, you have like say a sliver. I'm like, and now, and you see me coming up, and you're like, oh man, what's gonna happen? Oh, what? You burnt out.
Yeah.
And now you got it here, and we can talk about. Let's see.
That makes sense because I knew that's what Ume was doing at Capcom Cup a lot, where he would activate Feng Shui and essentially end with drive impact because he was getting an extra, bit of drive bar off of that.
And burnout really sucks. So just block for me. So plus, right? Plus. Because
when you're in a burnout and you're blocking, it basically makes all moves that, like, if it's -2 normally, it would make it what, +2?
Yeah, so it's +4 frames. So,
Okay.
Here, so let me put on fixed. Yeah, let's put on fixed for that. And there are things there, so because of that, I can get this. This is the infinite.
Yeah. And I know some characters have that.
Yeah. So I get that
Which is
there.
really good to have, because if
Yeah.
you're in burnout, that shit sucks.
Yep. And this is really strong for Kimberly. Now the thing about this is that the more hits you block, the faster your. Oh, they're telling us it's time to be done. With the lag, it just hit. Just went to 7 frames on rollback. Woo. So, but this will. The more hits you block, the faster it comes back. So you don't want to. If you have like a 1 button, like Manon has a 1 button because her stand strong is plus, so she can literally, and it moves her forward, so she can literally just go bop, 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 bop. And if you don't have a super, you can't do anything about it because you don't have your invincible reversal.
But it is also like a plus and minus too, because like if I'm blocking and you're doing that and you're in drive or burnout, it's actually good to block because you gain meter back for blocking.
Yeah, so burnout it's like it's real. Like sometimes you'll see it. So like for example, in a corner you'll see people get hit by something like what? It's because they didn't want to. So if he like held up on wake up and I tried to do this, if he's holding up because this button hit him airborne. So let's see here. I'm gonna knock you down. Hold up. So right there, I'm gonna like if he's just holding up and I don't have like a proper like thing, like even if you are like if I were to do this and say and then I did that, he was holding up, that wouldn't combo.
Yeah.
So you'll see people holding up because they don't want to get touched, or stuff like that. So there are weird situations. So you do kind of have to optimize your burnout. You gotta put them in a position where they can't do something like that, and they have to be forced to take the mix. So that would be here. So burnout is really important, and you do need to, because drive is so important. Without drive, you take chip damage, you take extra frame advantage. You don't take more damage, but like everything becomes here. Like this is plus on block. Like you have to hold that. Now I'm here, and everything I do, you gotta take. And now all you can do is guess, and the only option you have is I hope what you guess right or know exactly where the gaps are for that super. Like in this case, there's a 2-frame gap here. Like you have to be perfect in order for this here. And this one, this is +3. This is the 3-frame gap from here to here. On burnout, it's a 3-frame gap. If you don't super right between that gap, you can't do anything.
Just gotta take that. All right, I think we covered a ton of stuff. I think this is fantastic. I actually learned stuff myself, which is part of the point of doing this. So I'm hoping everybody kind of has something that they take away from this. I know it was a lot. We went over a little bit longer than we normally do, but I do think we had some, really important stuff to go over, and I hope this helps with some new people, even some veterans, because like the Meaty stuff is cool. I always love watching people do their own thing, something that like I am not the best training mode person. So seeing, picking Chris's brain to kind of see what he does, it's just very refreshing. So I just want to say thank you so much for being here with us. And if you guys stayed until the end, we appreciate you a ton. Please stop by the server. Like I said, we just refreshed a lot of stuff. We have new forums. We're trying to make things easier for people to find, and also easier to find knowledge, matchups, things all along that. So if you could like, comment, and subscribe as well, we appreciate that, because the whole reason we're doing this is we're just trying to get people better, and we just want people to be in the community. Chris and I are getting nothing from this outside of playing games, having a good time, helping people grow and learn. So anything else that you want to say, Chris?
No, I appreciate it. I hope everyone dug the information. I hope it wasn't too much. I do get a bit rambly on this, and I've been doing this for a long time, and I get excited about the things I enjoy. You should hear me talk about my wife.
Well, normally this is when Tuesday or Napoleon would slide through and we hit him with the piece. But we're not on cam, so instead we'll just leave it with Chris's favorite outro.
Oh, my favorite outro? What's my favorite outro?
Peace, bro. You always end it with a piece.
Oh, we gotta end it with a what about peace?
Peace. Peace.